Hey, Stoney here with another game of Mechabellum. In this game, we can expect to see some spicy triple speed spec play coming from our blue player. So at the bottom here, we have blue player as speed spec, and he is playing with stone crawlers and arc lights, and of course with 3 packs of crawlers using as chaff. And he's up against Koi, playing as a fortified specialist with tarantulas and fans. Tarantulas and fans are both weak against the Stormcrawlers, so as long as blue can tie up the tarantulas up here, these Stormcrawlers should be able to clear the board for the first couple rounds. Now looking at the placement here, it seems like there was a bit of hesitation on where you want to put these units, and eventually they decided to put it on the line. Now this is a bit of a lower MMM bracket game, so a bit of advice for new players of whether you want to put your units close to the tower or do you want to put it further forward. One factor into that decision is how long do you want this game to be, because by putting it close to the tower, you actually shorten the amount of chaff lines that you can have when the round goes on. So what I mean by chaff line is right now you have the units here in the tower. If you have crawlers right behind the tower, these crawlers going to run in front of your main army and get destroyed, right? Once your chaff is clear, there are no more space to reinforce them because you can put chaff further against the backboard here, but that's not going to be late enough. So a lot of the higher MMR players, you start to see them playing the units, at least the initial round of units, sort of at the this square or this rectangle here, because that gives them this much space to set up his chaff and also late arriving chaff. So just a quick advice. Second round here with unit drop, we have Typhoon being chosen by our red player and Scorpion by our blue player. The Typhoon is a bit of a strange decision. Right now, red does not need more chaff clear. He's got 4 tarantulas. They're pretty good against chaff clear of any kind. He doesn't need any anti-air just yet, right? There is no wasp, no wraith, no boats on the board. So the Typhoon is really filling a role that's already been filled by the tarantulas and is giving the target to the Scorpion. If anything, I would have gone for the Scorpion for red, because red does not have a single unit damage unit. Alright, the tarantula has narrowly escaped death, so it's going to get to the tower. Maybe it will get to the tower. No, just short of tower. And that brings us to round 3. Alright, a speed spec card was picked. There was also, let me just jump to round 3 real quick. There was also a Soul Scorpion. Every time I see a Soul Scorpion, I really want to click that card. So let me click off fast deployment. There we go. Shit. Alright, now we're at round 3. Lots of interesting cards. Speed Spec was instantly picked by our blue player here, and then Tech Spec was instantly picked by our red player without even a second thought there. The Assault Scorpion card was also offered, and I thought that would be an interesting card to put on these Scorpions and get them to go range. It almost doubles the damage of these Scorpions at the expense of a little range. Double Speed Spec is also interesting because now you can probably not get range, considering your unit is just walking forward and start to deal damage, right? The reason you want to get range is that most of the time your units are quite slow, right? Without the speed spec here, this Scorpion would just be walking around 7 meters per second. So every meter is about a square about this big, right? Or in this case, probably a little smaller than that, about this big. So if you don't have range, and range gives you 40 meters, if you don't have range, your unit will have to walk 7 meters per second to 40 meters. That's almost 6 seconds. So during that time, your opponent should be able to fire at you, and you're going to have a terrible time. So that's usually when people get range, so that they can shorten that distance in case the opponent gets range. But when you have speed spec, right, in this case, you have 13 meters per second, and your opponent has the 40-meter range, you can actually do pretty well. Because you'll just be walking 4 more seconds, and boom, you're at your opponent's face, and you can start dealing the damage. Alright, so we have a very similar round compared to the previous round. Red still does not have any anti-unit damage, which means this Scorpion is just going to be able to walk in and blast everything down. The Stonecrawlers continue to be a menace, and that is just because Red doesn't have any crawlers. There's nothing to really distract the Stonecrawlers long enough. And it also brings back to what I was talking about with the chaff line, right? So let's say these crawlers are going to run forward, they're going to tank that first round of Stonecrawler shots. Where's the rest of your crawler going to go? Because the most you can put your crawlers is right here. And that's what, a second, maybe 2 seconds apart from your initial crawler. So your chaff line is just going to be super short. Alright, so we got blue continue to adding more chaff. I think this is a good call. And red, I'm really hoping he will put some melting points down, or even just scorpions of his own. Because right now, even if there's no chaff on the board, okay, let's put it this way. Even if there's no unit except 2 scorpions on the board, okay, red with these 4 tarantulas cannot win. So that's the problem, right? So red will really need to augment his single unit damage coming in from the back. Range was picked up for Arclight. Quite curious. I think the reason for that was with Arclight being the only chaff clear units coming from blue's board. Without range, it might be walking just a little too close, so he wants to keep it safe in case there are any late arriving chaff. But when you're looking at his board, you'll notice that there really isn't any space for that. Alright, so Arclights continue to clear the chaff. Tarantula's getting focused, and they're putting their power on the Scorpion. They actually are able to bring down this level 1 Scorpion on the right, while the rest of the army is busy clearing out chaff. But these level 2 Stonecrawlers, though, they are just so deadly against slow-moving Tarantulas. Steel Balls, I think this is pretty good for blue. Especially with Tarantulas in the play here. Having 2 level 2 Steel Balls after the chaff is clear is excellent. But instead he decided to go with more, I guess, consistent damage. Right? Mustangs right now aren't a great unit running into ranged Tarantulas. They will absolutely eat them alive. But Mustang is sort of those long-term investments that while they're a little weak now, once you get a few levels, once you get them range, they can do really well. Range is picked up again for the Scorpions. Now this is a choice I don't understand. With range on the Scorpions, now the Scorpions officially outrange Arclight, which means the Arclight will actually walk in front of the Scorpion and getting shot down by the Tarantulas. Seeing just how many late arriving fans that red has, that's not the correct decision. You want the Arclight to stand behind the Scorpion, being the tankier unit, right? And also, because you're going, triple speed spec, you don't really need... I mean, these guys, let's just see how quickly they're walking forward. So the range on the Scorpion is a bit of a wasted tech, and it's not working to your favor. Mustang, on the other hand, is doing alright. It is serving more as the role of chaff, not so much as chaff clear. And it's a bit expensive, to be honest. I mean, these are level 2 Mustangs. If you just wanted some additional chaff, 2 packs of crawlers would do just fine. But yeah, it's a bit expensive. So when you're getting higher in MMR, these are the little decisions that you have to make, right? Just because range is good doesn't mean that you should get range on every single unit. There's certain unit like the Scorpions with a lot of HP can serve the role as a tank, whereas your Arclights with less HP should serve the role as a damage dealer from the safety behind the Scorpion. And in this case, I would even get range for the Mustangs and start tossing down a bit more chaff. But I would have never gotten range for the Scorpions to begin with. We got Vulcans here. Vulcan just adds another layer Right now, we do notice that Red's board just never had a single giant unit. And this is very important. If you're new to this game, a good balanced board consists of 4 unit types, or at least you have units that fit 4 roles, right? So you need chaff in the form of fans or crawlers. You need chaff clear, whether it's a tarantula, arclight, wraith, vulcan, and you need anti-air, things that shoot up, and then you need anti-giant, things that can do a lot of damage to a high HP unit. So we're talking about marksman, phoenix, melting point, steel balls, or even fortresses. Boats is in there as well, right? And it doesn't have to be 4 units to fit in 4 roles. Sometimes a single unit can fit multiple roles. A good example would be arclights. Arclights can fit in the role of chaff clear, but if you want to go with carry arclights with elite marksman, then they can also fit into the role of anti-unit. But that comes with a bit of play. Same with stormcallers. They're okay at clearing out chaff, but they're also excellent at dealing with giants. Right. Okay, so we got Spider Mine. Spider Mine could be okay against giants if they connect. Now these are level 2 Spider Mines, which means they have a HP of 1500, so they're pretty beefy. But it doesn't seem like they're able to connect right away. We have range on the Mustangs, and the Mustangs are actually doing a lot of damage. Now with the shield bubble, these Vulcans is not able to get through the juicy stuff, which is these Mustangs. However, the Scorpions are doing work, and so are the Stormcallers. And looking at the HP here, it looks like it might be... Red might just be pulling ahead here, especially with the tower debuff. Yep. So it's going to be a round to red. Ooh, the Spider Mine. And look at all the team killing damage right there with the Spider Mine. Okay, round 7. Deployment spec is picked by blue. I think Bombard is an excellent card in the later stage of the game. It just causes so much chaos for that one turn. Incendiary Bomb is picked up for the Vulcans. Mostly an answer to all these crawlers, which will be walking through pretty much the same path. So all these crawlers will be coming into this range, and the fire from this incendiary bomb will cover like right around here. So it's going to kill pretty much everything. Now for blue, I think what he did is just adding even more Mustangs and even more crawlers. It's okay, right? We can definitely do that, and he's winning pretty hard. So I don't see a reason why he wouldn't be trying something like this. Incendiary Bomb can be distracted fairly easily. So for example, just looking at the position that these Vulcans are, if you put a set of crawlers right here and a set of crawlers right here, the Vulcans will actually shoot the side first instead of going to the front. Alright, now let's watch the carnage unfold. We got Incendiary Bomb. All the crawlers are running through it. And remember, right, the crawler that's on the ground takes 50% less damage, which means they get to survive a little bit longer. But because they're level 1, they're still mostly going to perish in the fire. Alright, let's speed this up. And it looks like the only thing that's kind of standing between victory, between blue and victory, is just these tarantulas. And with Stormcallers and with Scorpions, they're going to die fairly quickly. Okay, so what do we learn in this game? Well, it is a low MMR game, so you want to make sure that you have a balanced board. Right now, red does not have any single unit damage, which means the Vulcans, they're getting a ton of value in, and so are the Scorpions. So if you were to just put down 2 melters right here, right, that would have solved that problem. And the technology, just because you have range and you have supplies, doesn't always mean you should take them. I would love to have the Scorpions take field maintenance and serve more as a tanky role, whereas your Arclights and your Mustangs serve as sort of a backline firing mode. Okay, I hope you enjoyed this game, and I will see you on the next one.
Prepare your tactics. Mechabellum's calling. Deploy your fortress. The battle battlefields alive with swarms.